Travis, what's the ETA on that lift?
Let me check. It's the same. The car hasn't moved in weeks. It looks like it's about a mile back down.
Frank, do you think you
No.
Travis, did you say you were volunteering?
What? No,
Perfect, great. Here, take this.
Oh, it's the murder axe. Thanks.
Go, find help.
He's gonna be fine.
100%.
He's not coming back, is he?
No, he's gone.
Welcome to another episode of Strangers in the Alps, a slasher podcast. I'm Dan.
I'm Travis.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Frank.
And this week we watched Malignant.
Yes, on the back of the VHS, let's see. The original 1970s TV family is now placed in the I'm very sorry. It looks like there's something in the back of the VHS that opened up, and it's entirely different. There's someone else in there. That joke does not work. It's terrible.
What was that, the Brady Bunch, the movie? What?
Yeah, that was the Brady Bunch movie.
That's a great movie.
By the way, we should actually do that movie.
We should.
That movie is hilarious.
By the way, spoilers. No, I'm just kidding.
How about a log line there, Travis? Malignant. I think if the audience doesn't remember, it's Malignant.
A new vision of terror. Director James Wan returns to his roots with this new original horror thriller. A woman is paralyzed by shocking visions of grisly murders, and her torment worsens as she discovers that these waking dreams are in fact terrifying realities.
It's very dramatic.
Pretty sums it up. Initial thoughts. Who wants to go first?
I think you just volunteered yourself. You're speaking in third person.
Okay, sure. So before watching the movie, I felt like this was probably going to be scary, gory, disturbing. Those are my initial thoughts.
A slasher?
No, I mean, I pretty much went into it. I didn't read anything about it, but I did look at the not the poster, but like on the VHS, you know, the cover, and it just looked scary and disturbing, and I figured it was going to be pretty gory. So that's what I thought going into it.
Travis?
Yeah, so my initial thoughts, I had actually heard about this film, I think a few months before it came out, just because where I was working at the time, we were doing like localization work for it. I didn't really get to see much of it, or of any at all, but I just kind of knew it was this horror movie with James Wan, the guy who did Saw. He did Dead Silence, Conjuring. So I knew initially I wanted to see it, but yeah, I mean, that was just my thoughts going in. Just, a new horror film from James Wan.
I actually didn't want to watch it because the trailer, it made it seem like it was this like generic movie about a woman who's psychic or has a bond with some killer, and she's like trying to get the police, and it's been done many, many times before, and I never ever really enjoyed it, so I wasn't gonna watch it, but it was on HBO Max. I think it was like when we just got out of pandemic, so I watched it because I was bored. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I'm actually on a similar boat. I'd seen the trailer leading up to its release. It was one of those day and date HBO Max movies. So that's how we watched it the first time. But the trailer itself looked generic, kind of overly produced. The only thing that really kind of got my interest was James Wan's involvement. So I was still on the fence. I knew I was going to see it. I just didn't expect to really care for it much. But it was also, like, interestingly placed. It was right after he did Aquaman, so it was him going back to, like, his horror roots. So that was also interesting to me. But yeah, those were my initial pre-movie thoughts.
It's funny you say that because after the movie was over, and I looked up the director James Wan, and I saw, okay, he did Saw, he did was it Insidious? No.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, he did Insidious.
But then I saw Aquaman, and it just made me chuckle because I saw Aquaman, and I thought that movie was wildly underwhelming. I mean, it was just like, what is going on here? Like a lot of these DC movies, and we don't want to get into that, but I just thought it was like, so then I'm like, okay, he did all these other movies. He must have just been handed a boatload of money to do Aquaman. Because it just felt like whoever directed it, when I saw that movie, I felt like this guy is not invested in this movie at all.
He also did Fast 7, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I will say I think is the best Fast and the Furious movie.
He's
the
surprisingly a
one-
good action director.
Was this the one where they drove off the cliff or went to space?
No. That was the 9th one. This
Or the one where they went to hell. I think that was also a movie.
Highway to Hell.
But then also,
No, sorry. 7 is was Paul Walker's last one.
oh, okay, that ending scene was great though.
Yeah.
So, you want to talk about
Giallo.
Giallo films,
Yeah.
right? I'm super excited because I really don't even know what that means.
Okay. So in the beginning of the film,
Travis got excited.
where they're in the psychiatric hospital, you know how the film kind of has that very, very dramatic lighting, a lot of red, a lot of blues, which is actually an artistic style called Giallo films, which comes from Italy, and Frank will give us the backstory on that.
Yeah, so this movie, like Travis said, is heavily inspired by Giallo, which is a genre of Italian fiction. The word Giallo means yellow, and it comes from the name of this series of old crime mystery pulp novels called Giallo Mondadori, which means Mondadori yellow. These were pulp novels that had like mystery, crime, horror elements to them. They were usually Italian translations of other novels from like British and American authors. So like your Italian Agatha Christie or Edgar Allan Poe, you would get that in a Giallo novel. So now Giallo films take that one step further. Giallo as a film genre is actually a precursor to slasher films. So a lot of your slasher tropes, sex, violence, the moody atmosphere, poppy colors, that all comes from Giallo films. Usually the supernatural element isn't as prominent in Giallo, but that's more of a slasher thing. So that's where a lot of the DNA for a slasher film will come from. It's this Italian mystery thriller smorgasbord, I guess, which is honestly it's great. I think it's a really interesting genre. It's not as prominent today. It actually kind of died down during the 70s. That's when the classical era of the slasher started. So it's kind of like Giallo kind of handed the reins over to slasher films, and then that's its own thing that we'll get into that more as we get into other films in the podcast. But yeah, that's a little primer for Giallo.
That's very cool. Go ahead.
Did you watch Suspiria?
No.
Oh,
Dario Argento.
he's like the mastermind of it. But also,
I want to now, though. That sounds really cool.
it's also, I've read up on that as well. It's like the stained glass. There's a lot of stained glass in Giallo films, especially in Suspiria. There's like a big, prominent stained glass in the first few shots, and then with this one, there's stained glass in her house. So that's also a nice little nod to Giallo.
Yeah, that house is really, really, really gorgeously set up and
Yeah, agree.
perfect.
Yeah, because I like Frank was saying, I feel like the genre. I mean, you had Dario Argento just came back. He did that one film. What was it?
Dark Glasses.
Dark Glasses. Yeah, he just did Dark Glasses. So you had that, but I feel like Frank said, a lot of times now, I feel like the genre itself is just homaged in other films. We don't see it as much, but it was very popular in the 70s.
Yeah, and interesting note, Giallo for Italian audiences, Giallo doesn't specifically mean an Italian movie. A Giallo film can come from any country, any language. It just has to have those hallmarks of, pulpy crime, horror stuff. It's like an atmospheric mix of
Yeah.
sex, violence, and horror.
It's almost
which
like
is-
sexploitation in a way.
Yeah.
Dan, like Frank was saying, in Italy they don't refer to them as Italian films. It's like in your favorite movie, The Three Amigos, when Chevy Chase says, "Do you guys have anything else other than Mexican food?"
All right, and we've slid down the path of Three Amigos, which set the Mexican culture back 50 years. But we can talk about that another time.
It hurts very much.
Would you say you have a plethora?
I'm sure it did, Frank.
I hate plethoras.
Oh my
plethora?
God. So, okay, that is really cool information for me because I obviously was not familiar, but it's interesting because I thought the opening was really cool. Without knowing the background or history of of the genre he was using, I was very taken by that opening, that we call it a cold opening, I guess, of that sequence. I thought it was just, and leading into the way they did the credits, I thought that was really cool. And so I was really into that whole front end of the movie.
Yeah, when I think Frank and Sam, you two had separately told me that I had to watch the film. And I remember I was like, okay, so like Sam, I was one day kind of bored at home, so I was like, all right, let me put it on. I just remember like that first shot when it has like the establishing shot and you get like those. I just remember coming up, I'm like, okay, I'm kind of liking this. This is good. And then as the opening was going, I paused. I was like, oh man, I really, really wish I had seen this in theaters.
Yeah.
I really wanted to see it in theaters, but at the same time, I was like, should I just pause it and just go to a theater and watch it? I'm like, no, I'm just gonna do it. But I don't know. I just always kind of had that regret. I was like, I should have watched this in theaters.
It's funny because I watched it at home, and then the next day I had to go to work. I went early, and I actually watched it in theaters, and I told you about it. And it was great in theaters. It worked really well.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's get into our initial thoughts about it after having seen it. Sam, since you were just speaking, how about you go first?
So you just got out of it at work.
I loved it even more watching it in theaters. Watching it again last night, though, I don't know. It's different. I feel like, because I know what's going to happen, I kind of expected things to happen. I felt like the first act and a half, I didn't really care for. It felt very generic to me. But after the jail cell scene, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have thoughts on that, it spiked up for me, and I enjoyed it all the way through. And it goes to that campy vibe, and you don't get a lot of that anymore. So seeing that now in this present day, I feel like it was a good nod to it.
So before we move any further, just gonna let you listeners at home know, we are going to get into spoilers. If you had not seen this film, just if you were at work right now, just let your boss know, hey, I gotta go home, take some time off. You can let them know that some strangers in the Alps told you can go home, watch this movie. You're free to do it. Tell them Dan Davis sent you.
Why didn't you do this for Barbarian?
For Barbarian? Because I just thought of this while watching this one.
My feeling is this movie came out in 2021, correct?
Yeah.
Yes,
If you haven't seen it, I'm sorry.
That's true. The expiration date for it.
If
It's
you're,
expired.
If you're listening to a slasher podcast, you've probably seen it.
Yeah.
If you know who James Wan is, you've probably seen it.
Right.
I do have to give a shout out to our friend Alex. So our friend Alex, mine and Travis's, she watches every episode, but if it's not a movie she's seen, she'll actually go out of her way to watch it first and listen. So we appreciate
good.
that.
That's what you should do.
Thank you
Also,
so much.
another shout out to another podcast, Let You Tell It podcast. They let us know when we did the Chopping Mall episode, they went out and they watched the movie. And
I'm
they
surprised
said
that didn't end our podcast, quite frankly. Do you want to get back to your initial
Yeah,
thoughts? Because
so
you totally just derailed your initial thoughts.
have you ever had a conversation with me?
We're having one right now, Travis. Just get to your initial thoughts.
So,
And you wonder why these episodes are going to an hour long.
yeah, it's because of me. They're getting longer.
Oh my god. He has to have the last word.
Go, Travis.
So, no, the opening scene I really, really liked. And then, like Sam said, it kind of started to get into this whole, is she, the psychic connection? I didn't know if I was gonna, I don't know, I kind of had to get mixed up. I was like, oh man, did this movie, peak in its opening? I was starting to get a little disappointed. But then I think there was the scene where she finds, the blade or something, in the attic. That scene piqued my interest again. And I'm just gonna say, once the jail scene happened, I was absolutely glued to the screen. My thoughts were with the old lady when she was like, what the fuck? That was my thoughts in the film going forward, and I dug it from there on, and I've talked too much.
Okay, good. I'll just comment one thing on you said. Both of you. I agree about the jail scene, but you understand that's way, way into the movie.
That's why the first act and a half was just
being one who just saw it for the first time, didn't read anything about it ahead of time, which I like to do. It's based on, this is Travis's way of doing things. And I think it's a good way to watch movies, especially like this. I, too, felt like this movie's confusing me a lot, and not in a way that I want to be confused. I feel like it really, I mean, yes, when you finally find out what's really going on, I guess you could back up and go, I guess they dropped me some clues, but not really, because it actually left me with more questions than answers, and we can get more into that as we talk about it. Again, I will go back. I did love the opening. I thought Through the Credits was just super cool. I don't want to be like old guy, get off my lawn guy, but I just have to say something. I don't think this needs to be a big discussion, but I was really disturbed by the husband slugging her into her breast.
absolutely.
I mean, like, but disturbed, like,
Yeah.
if this wasn't a podcast, I actually thought about, I don't even know if I want to watch this movie. I mean, if you're going to do this, if James Wan thinks this is an okay way to set this up, I was like, I'm not okay with this.
I made me uncomfortable.
It should, and I'm sure that was his intention. But personally, I think there's so many other ways you could have set this story up. Given what her getting hit in the head caused, it didn't need to go. In my opinion, that didn't need to be the way. It was because the husband wasn't a developed character anyway. He was dead within 5 minutes of that moment.
Which I'm glad.
Well, of course, we were all glad. But so anyway, yeah, there was a lot of, for me, there was just a lot of questions and confusion. And I guess maybe I was overthinking watching the movie, like, okay, what is going on? Is this like Eyes of Laura Mars, which was a Faye Dunaway, Tommy Lee Jones movie back in the 80s, where she literally sees murders before they happen, which was also not really explained very well. But, or what is happening? Yes, obviously when we get the payoff, then we go, whoa! My biggest whoa moment really wasn't the jail cell scene. It was literally when the camera goes around and shows what's in the back of her head.
The VHS?
And I just went, yes. I just went, whoa! Oh, one more thing before I go.
And you said I talk a lot.
I know, but I actually didn't appreciate it at the beginning when we started on a VHS tape of the doctor talking. But as we went to the movie, that was very necessary because they used VHS for a lot of information in this movie, a lot of reveals. And even at times where I go, would that really been shot? Would that really been on camera? There was just a lot of that, but it was obviously very necessary. That's all I'm going to say for now. Go ahead.
Now, if we can be frank.
Yes.
I hate it.
I actually didn't watch it.
I actually had a really good time with the movie. So like I said before, I thought it was going to be mediocre. The only thing that saved it in terms of, being a candidate for watching was James Wan's his involvement. And then when the poster came out, the poster is really simple, but it's really striking. So those two things were kind of like hinting at something that might be more interesting. So I had a really good time. I think there was a lot of really good directing decisions in it. The editing was really good. The pacing was, for the most part, okay. It did kind of lose me a little bit in that middle section. But it was kind of samey. Mm-hmm. There wasn't anything
Redundant?
It was kind of... It felt like it was going to get redundant for a second. Like, I'll save that for later. But there was good camera work. Visually, it was really exciting. And the ending was great. I loved it. Yeah. And those were my initial thoughts. Though I will say, in regards to the whole husband situation, overly violent bullies are my foreplay. I love it because I know they're going to get murdered before the end of the movie, and it's usually going to be in a really twisted yet deserved way. So I was actually really glad that it happened. So yeah, I was actually really excited that it happened sooner than later, because that motherfucker deserved it.
Going off of that camera work and that scene when he died, I enjoyed that scene a lot with him on the couch, and then he starts hearing all these things. And the camera is just a long shot of the whole entire living room. And then for me, whenever I watch horror movies, I don't really just focus on the character. If they're giving us this much space all around them, I tend to try to look for things. So that I felt like worked really well because I'm out here going, okay, is there someone on the staircase? Is there someone hidden in the kitchen? And I think it kind of the same way that he set up Insidious, right? With Insidious, he gives us a lot of long shots to just kind of focus around the room. So I feel like with camera work, he does really well with that.
Yeah, even in Furious 7, he does some really interesting stuff with the camera and the action scenes.
I agree. I agree completely in terms of the action sequences. I thought were really well done. I thought the art direction was really cool. I thought just the overall direction of the film was really, really well thought out and really good. If my criticism, and it sprung when you were talking about how it in the sort of front and middle of the movie where we start feeling like it's just kind of almost getting redundant. I also felt that possibly for me, and you're going to hear me talk about this a lot when we talk about movies, I don't know who I was really rooting for in this movie. I didn't really feel like I was really behind the main character that much because she really wasn't, go back to Barbarian? Mm-hmm. Can we go back to Barbarian?
Previous episode.
So, I actually did care about our heroine in Barbarian. I actually was rooting for this to work out for her. I don't know if I was really rooting for this heroine to succeed or fail because I didn't feel like she was really that involved in the journey. She was more in denial and confusion, and I didn't see her as a really active character in the story. I thought her sister was actually being more active or proactive in the story. So there really wasn't any really rooting interest. I mean, I think the person I was rooting for most was me, just to survive through this movie.
Well,
but it is. I wasn't bored by it, but I think that might be kind of where it does get a little redundant. We're not really on a great journey with the character itself. Maybe that was something lacking in the story, for me anyway.
Well, Dan, just to let you know, denial isn't just a river in Egypt.
So anyway,
Oh my God, my dad just walked in.
with the main character, I forgot her name. Madison.
Or Emily May.
Emily May.
Depending on which part of the movie you're in. Her name changed a lot.
But she's a nurse, right?
Yeah, which we never
Yes.
got back to.
Yes.
We just saw at the beginning.
She gets her head slammed, and then blood is spewing out. But then also, when she took a nap, her head was still bleeding.
Yeah.
At no point, her being a nurse, being like, "This is dangerous. I'm pregnant. I should just go to the hospital." She just.
Well, she'd
on.
lost the baby by then, hadn't she?
No. This is when she was still napping before she found her husband.
You've never napped in a pool of your own blood?
Not there.
Oh, okay.
Oh. No, I haven't.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Dan. Like, thinking back on the movie, like, there's not a lot to remember about Madison herself.
No.
Other than all the Gabriel stuff. Like, they don't really. I guess maybe it's because they jump right into all the Gabriel stuff. But for a lot of the beginning, she's just in denial or being scared. There's not really a lot of character there.
And I agree.
But I do think that they kind of pick up in that area as the movie progresses. It's just they don't set it up.
Right. No, I agree. Also, the cops' journey was not interesting to me anyway, at all. I mean, I kept yearning for, like, Tommy Lee Jones or somebody like that to play the cop. Somebody with, like, more character. Somebody with, like, I don't think it was even cast very well, honestly. And that's not his fault, but you are what you are. But I wanted more of a character to be the cop, more interesting kind of.
He reminds me of a cop from a TV show on CBS, like a Hawaii Five-0.
Absolutely.
And
Oh,
he's
yeah.
just-
Generic.
Oh, yeah.
Generic cop.
He's just there to advance the plot, and the dialogue is
And
just
catch
very.
chairs with his back.
Exactly.
Where he's, what did I say? Oh, like his lines were just like, he makes the audience feel dumb at some points with the dialogue. It's like, no, I see it happening. He still has to like say it.
Yeah. And we're getting shot at.
Yeah,
He's the
exactly.
he's the exposition police.
And the whole dynamic between him and his partner, and then what do you call the CSI? What's the person who checks
Oh, yeah. She
her,
was
like,
very
I have a crush
Miss
on
Lonely
him.
Heart,
It was
yeah.
like going nowhere, and it wasn't fun. It wasn't interesting. It's too bad because there was kind of a lot of it. We were using the cops as a big part of our journey, and it wasn't very interesting.
I do think that some of that dumb dialogue, that overly expositional dialogue, was on purpose. Like all those things about the the obvious stating of things as they're happening. I thought that was pretty funny.
It took me out.
Really?
Like even from in the beginning when it was the two doctors and when Gabriel was broadcasting through all the electronic stuff and the doctor was like, he's broadcasting his thoughts. It's like, okay, I see it.
Yeah.
It takes
don't
me
tell
out for
me
me.
about it.
Yeah.
Just show me. I'm good.
I liked it on that stupid movie level.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like in Aquaman where every conversation ends with an explosion. By the third or fourth time, you know they're doing it on purpose.
I've never seen
That's what I
Aquaman.
thought. I was gonna save this little for final thoughts, but I'll talk about it.
Oh, we're wrapping up? Okay.
No. I'm saying I'll get into it because I agree with Frank said how they're kind of doing it on purpose. Because for me, with this film, it reminded me a lot of because, like I said, he had done Fast and the Furious. He had done Aquaman, so he did all these action movies, and I kind of felt like he was kind of trying to go back. When going back into horror, I think he was homaging a lot of different films and styles. So the beginning was a Giallo film, and then I really feel like the back half of the film was the Brian Usna film, Basket Case. I know, Sam, you've seen it. Frank, Dan, have you seen it, heard about it? So Basket Case.
No, so I was shaking my head no, and nobody can know what I was saying. Let me just say no.
Yeah. So Basket Case is a Brian Usna film, and it's essentially about this guy, and you find out he's carrying around a basket in New York, like a picnic basket. He keeps carrying it around, and it's like a little monster in it, and he starts feeding it people and stuff. And then you find out that it was actually his twin brother that was growing on him, and they kind of do an operation. They do an operation. They
Sliced him.
They separate them, and then so that's what the film is. You find out is when they're going back, they're essentially killing all the surgeons, doctors, everyone that was involved in the operation. Everyone needs to watch the movie, but that's the thing is I kind of
they don't actually need to now. You've given them the entire film.
No.
Including all the spoilers.
That's not a lot of spoilers at all. But that's the thing. To me, it was kind of him. It almost seemed like it was almost like a remake of Basket Case in a little bit. So I feel like it was his return of horror and just trying out and showing all these different styles and stuff.
I don't know that it's ever a good choice to create uninteresting characters and uninteresting dialogue. I just feel like that's more of a mistake than it is a choice.
Do you think it's like a scapegoat where someone's like, oh, well, yeah, I just did that on purpose?
Well, that's what it sounds like you're making an excuse for it, and I don't think that's
I'm not making an
valid
excuse.
Because you could have had a really interesting cop. You could have had a really refreshing dynamic, which would have added so much more to the movie. Like, oh, I'm back with the cops. That's really cool. Instead of, oh, I'm back with the cops. This is really dull and boring.
But then also that kind of goes back to the campiness of it.
Yeah,
if you
that's
take
where
a
I'm
campy
going.
movie like Sleepaway Camp, all those
Yeah.
characters don't really mean anything. So I feel like at this point in time, we're so used to dissecting everything, which is great. But I think for this one, you just gotta let it happen. Even though I do have my qualms about it, but
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not using it as an excuse for me. I just think it's like kind of the style of like 70s, 80s film, which I agree. I mean, it's not perfect. I don't want to defend the film and say, oh, Dan, you just don't understand. I'm not trying to be
I think that's what you're doing.
I'm not trying to be a gatekeeper in any way.
Well, but I think when and I'm guilty of this, we all are. When you really like a movie, and I'm not saying this is like that level where I liked it so much, but when you really like a movie, you do tend to find an excuse and answer, not you, Travis, but anybody, for why that moment was there and why it was there. And it's like, no, take a step back. That actually isn't a good moment.
that's him in Shopping Mall.
I was going to say Chopping Mall, film of the year.
We're
He
never
can't
talking
let
about
me
it.
say it.
I
He
said
just
film of
has-
the year.
I know.
Sam
See,
Burns.
I'm getting defensive again. I was like, you have to know that I'm talking about Chopping Mall.
You don't have to slap your hands while you're talking.
Don't question his relationship
you
with
slapping
Chopping
your
Mall,
hand.
okay?
Okay,
I'm so sorry.
continue.
Yeah, well, back to what you're saying, Travis. It is like a modern day B movie, which I think is, it's really cool. We don't get a lot of that in horror movies these days, and it really sets it up from the beginning. The shots, the dialogue, the acting in the in the opening, the delivery of the line. It's time to cut
Oh,
out
God.
the cancer.
See,
I love that.
That
line.
was that.
I thought that was great.
Great.
That was
Yeah.
the line that made me like, why am I not watching this in theaters? But yeah, no, I mean, speaking of the opening too, and it's, I don't know, I just think I don't want this to turn into a whole episode about James Wan, but I think too I was very happy seeing that opening of Malignant, and I knew I was in for something good too, because have you all seen The Conjuring?
Yeah.
I still think the opening of The Conjuring is absolutely one of the scariest openings.
Can you
of
remind
any.
me?
It's the scene. It's the scene with I think it's with Annabelle or something where she's just sitting there. Right?
Was Annabelle in Conjuring?
Yeah, she was in the first one. Yeah, it was like the opening. I think it's really scary because I remember when I was working at the theater.
So with the nurses?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I remember being at the theater at the time, and I would hate it, like, towards the end of the night when we'd have to do the back trash.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one time, I hadn't really seen the film yet. I hadn't seen The Conjuring yet. And I had to go through the back of the theater, and it was an empty theater, and that scene was playing, and it freaked me out. I was like, all right, I need to see it. And I don't know. And then, like I said, going back to James Wan, I just think, like Malignant didn't fail me, I think he's very strong with his openings in his films. And I think he sets the tone very well.
He's great at all the horror stuff, but for me, I'm not a big fan of his sequels. I loved Insidious and Conjuring, but then anything after that, like Insidious 2.
No.
Well, get ready,
Conjuring.
folks, because I'm reading that that's a very possible that they're
Yeah.
going to do a sequel to Malignant.
Yeah,
which
it
I
I-
find to be extremely boring, because what are we going to do? He's going to hit her head again? He's going to come back alive again? We're going to do the whole thing over again?
We gotta do like the whole. See, you had Frankenstein, and then you had Bride of Frankenstein.
So what, Gabriel's going to have a bride?
Gabriel's gonna have a bride. That's what's gonna happen in the next one.
Well, see, that's the thing that's kind of interesting about a potential sequel. Where the fuck are they going to go
Yeah.
after this? I
Well,
feel like
that's
they
the
kind of
problem.
blew their load with this movie.
But I feel like a way about a lot of sequels, like like really great movies that, well, we have to make another one because we just made so much money, but there's literally nothing. Pardon me, I don't want to say literally ever again. Back up. Because there's nothing left really to do with this movie that wouldn't just be, you've already done it.
Okay, but
I
I mean,
can't wait for him to watch the Scream movies.
I was gonna say, it can be said about Fast and Furious too, and now we have 10 of them. Like,
Fasten
more?
your seatbelt.
Can we isolate what Frank just did?
No, but I mean,
no,
Dan,
hold on. I need you to keep that, and then also keep the silence after.
No, but that's always kind of the blessing. Not the blessing. That's always like the double-edged sword with like doing a sequel, Dan. I agree. We're a lot. It's like, what are you going to do next? But at the same time, it's like you get it when you try to do what you're going to do. It's like you want to add something new to the story, but you got to be careful because sometimes I feel like it can be so different when you try to do it that you kind of alienate fans from the first film. And they don't like it, but then you get the other criticism where it's like, oh, well, but it's if you make it too close to the original, you get people that get upset because they're like, oh, it's just the same film but in a new setting.
But in this movie, if you're talking sequels, they at least wisely didn't kill Gabriel. They just put him back into his box, his cell. So we know he's still very much alive and able to return. You take movies like, and I'm only assuming, like Friday the 13th, episode 50. How many times are you going to
There's only 12. There's only 12.
How many times are you going to kill Jason and he keeps coming back? How many times are you going to kill Michael and he keeps coming back? Those, I think, are ridiculous. But
Just you wait.
Just wait until Jason X.
right?
Jason in space.
Jason in Hell, isn't that one of them?
No, Jason X is in space.
Okay. But at least in Malignant, it'd be like in the first Jaws, if the shark kind of sunk to the bottom, but we didn't actually see it die, and you could go, oh, but you blew it up. Then you go back to Martha's Vineyard, and you do like, another shark is
Well,
coming?
no,
Are you
see,
kidding me?
That series got even dumber. Because do you remember the plot of Jaws
3D.
4?
Oh.
No, yeah, I think, no, Jaws the
Jaws
Revenge.
3D.
No, Jaws the Revenge, or was it 2? It doesn't even matter. In one of the sequels, you find out the other shark comes back and it kills the sun. Because that was its revenge, that the shark was like, oh, I'm going to go after the sun.
That's Jaws Revenge. I
Jaws
think that's the fourth one, yes.
That's as dumb as it gets. The shark going after the son of the sheriff.
There you go.
Because you
It's
kill.
realistic.
I'm gonna reel it back here.
Yeah, we have
Real.
We have definitely.
Let's be real.
Oh,
Let's
she's
be-
gonna reel it.
Yeah, she's gonna
I'm
reel
gonna
it
reel
back
it
like
back.
the shark.
Oh, because sharks are in the ocean. I get it.
And
Yeah.
real because it's a film. and-
Okay. So let's talk about the jail cell scene. Like how you said you like that. What was it about the husband? What it was your
Oh, violent bullies are my foreplay, and
There you
it's
go.
exactly it's 100% true.
So for this one, it's the same way with me. But if someone is such a smartass, and you just like this person needs to stop talking. That your foreplay. That was my foreplay. I was like,
That was the jail scene for you,
oh, absolutely. When that woman who is a stunt woman
Zoe
in
Bell.
real life, Kill Bill, love. Was it Kill? No, Death Proof.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah, but she was also Uma's stunt double in Kill Bill.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There you go. When she started talking, I'm like, oh, I hope something happens to you.
Oh yeah.
And then when Madison just sitting there quiet, I'm like, oh, it's doing.
It's coming.
It's doing.
By the way, she has a name in the script. It's Scorpion, okay?
Really?
Yes, it is.
Oh my God,
She looks like a scorpion
she
too.
does. But yeah, that whole scene for me was perfection.
Yeah, the setup and the build up were really great. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you knew none of those women were walking out of that
No,
jail cell alive.
absolutely not.
And the way that the camera follows Madison / Gabriel / Emily May, the way that the camera follows them, the movements, it was all really, really well done. I really like that shot where when Gabriel knocks one of the women down and then turns around and
Yeah.
then does like that twisted backwards like curb stomp. That was
Yes,
really cool.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole thing was
Frank
great.
just took my favorite kill.
God damn it. Sorry. Not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
No, but yeah, no, I agree that perfection.
If you do a thumbs up, no one can see that.
But now they can because you just said it.
I know.
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Okay, can we talk about the music as well, the score?
Sure.
I feel like, oh, you know what? This whole thing for me though, it reminds me of very 90s, 2000s horror movie in a way, especially with the credit scene, with it being like all those shots that tells you the story or like the background.
It kind of like sums it up.
Exactly.
Yeah, it kind of, and you almost have like this one did like the new metal.
Yeah,
like
yeah, it
the
reminds-
new metal playing in the
know-
early 2000s.
I don't know if you guys saw that movie, Stigmata.
Yeah.
That it reminded me of that.
Yeah.
And I did not like it.
I loved it. I loved the hard
For
cut
you-
to the music.
No.
It
For
was
you,
so
it was
cool.
new nada.
Travis, please.
Wow, the dad jokes are just flowing today.
I'm myself today.
Freddy vs. Jason also did the same
Oh yeah,
thing.
yeah, that
Really?
early 2000s. Yeah, they all had that like new metal music.
I felt like the new metal worked, but just the opening credits I didn't like.
No?
No.
What would you have done differently with the credits? Keep the music, but change the credits.
I feel like, you know how Barbarian had it? It was like a hard cut straight to like. I feel like just Malignant.
Just a quick
would
title
have worked
card
for
done?
me. Yeah, I like that.
You
The
didn't
minimalistic.
like the whole surgery thing
no,
going on?
No, I felt it was very cheesy.
Really?
I thought it was cheesy too, but
Yeah.
for some reason it
It
worked
worked?
for me. It had, and maybe it was just the whole color of it, and just kind of the way they would do these little boxes, and I don't know. I kind of dug it.
Well, speaking of surgery, dug it. Dan, you should watch Basket Case. Maybe we can do an episode on it. You would
I don't
like
feel
it.
like I need to. You literally
No,
gave
and speaking
stop
of
saying
digging,
literally.
speaking of digging, hold on. Sorry, everyone. 1 second. Where is my bag? I lost my bag in the cabin. Oh, Frank, can you hand me the bag behind you, please?
No.
This is great podcast stuff.
Yeah, so in my bag here that no one can see, but you can hear it.
Oh,
Dan,
it's adorable in Japanese.
It's Mitsuha.
So your pots and pans?
Is Mitsuha alive? Is this your twin brother that they cut out
Yes.
of you, Mitsuha?
Yes, I have the operation video. We're gonna upload it to YouTube. So I
Are we
actually
giving out
have.
gifts? What's going on?
Speaking of
It's
digging,
Christmas.
Dan, check out my shirt that I got at Beyond Fest for 2021.
We'll put this up. We'll put
We'll
a picture
put up
of
the
it.
image on. We'll put up the image on our Instagram page.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's the
That's
Sam. What are we
the,
seeing here?
that's
What
the
are we
jail
seeing here,
scene.
Sam?
It's a scorpion yelling. Oh, I can't say that. Go ahead.
No, you can say it.
No,
No,
her
I can't.
parents won't like that.
Oh, okay. It says, "What the fuck, Beyond Fest."
Yeah, so.
Sam's parents. What the fuck, Beyond
What? No,
Fest?
Sam's mom caught the shirt.
Oh yeah, she was.
Yeah.
We went to watch VHS, wasn't it?
VHS 94.
94.
No, 90.
I
yeah,
don't know.
94.
The better one. The better one than the last one. But we want to watch it. And Beyond Fest is it's a horror festival or just like
Annual horror festival.
and it has like anything from independent films to anything big. And we were watching in VHS, and they like to give out fun stuff. So they have a T-shirt gun, and they shot out this black shirt with Scorpion on it, yelling that fabulous line. And yeah, we'll put a picture of it on Instagram.
And everyone should check out Beyond Fest. Like Sam said, it comes out every year. It's an annual thing. They bring in the filmmakers, sometimes do Q&As. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, they do it every year. They have an annual T-shirt. And this
Would you stop holding up the T-shirt?
This was
no
2021.
one
can see it.
I know, but Frank,
you
got it last year. Oh, sorry.
But you know what? Me and Sam and I did see Dario Argento's latest Giallo film, Dark Glasses, this year
Did
at
not
Beyond
like
Fest. The music was cool.
The music was great.
Yeah.
The story was not good.
Yeah, I don't think we had a great run with Beyond Fest because the only one I remember going to, also, we're not going to do an episode on it, so was Christmas Bloody Christmas.
Is Beyond Fest going to give us money or something for this? Because we
They
are sure
should,
plugging
though.
them heavy right
I'm
now.
just
We are
saying,
heavily
Please
I'm
plugging
support
them.
us.
just talking. Dan, I
sponsor
am
us.
trapped in this cabin. I may not go next year if we are still in this cabin, so I have to let our audience know so they can go.
We
All he
could
has are his memories.
we could vote you out of this cabin, you know.
I can leave at any time.
So do we have we covered any like crazy moments or favorite deaths? I think we've talked around all that, but do we have like specific?
Before that, how do you feel about Gabriel learning all those kung fu moves?
Oh, that was hilarious.
I
I loved it. I
loved
loved
it
it.
too. I didn't feel like it took me out. I felt like, oh, okay, that's it. That's
So
what he knows.
The police precinct scene.
Yeah.
Did it get a little Matrix?
It did, and I loved it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But not totally full on like comedy Matrix, where it's like stopping and then
He
killing.
was
but
Jackie Chan.
it was getting very Jackie Chan. Absolutely.
A lot of backwards broken limb parkour was going on. None of it was explained, but it didn't need to be. Just like the fact that he
Exactly.
can control electronics makes no sense, doesn't matter, because it was really cool.
I decided to even skip that because I agree with you. I was gonna bring it up. I thought I don't care. I think this is so cool.
Yeah.
Like in our previous episode, remember, Violent Night, I don't know how this stuff works.
Exactly.
No, but
exactly.
that's the thing. It's like at this point, I figure when you have Gabriel coming out of the back of the head,
Oh,
the
that
whole
scene
thing-
was
yeah,
great.
All bets are off.
That
Once
scene was
that
so
happened, I'm
good.
like, you're doing kung fu. Okay, I believe it. I believe it. Do what you got to do. Do your thing.
Yeah, from the moment the jail cell scene happens, like the movie gets like a shot in the arm and it never comes back down.
No.
So if they do make a sequel, I hope they do more of that out of left field craziness because I think it's the movie's strength. There's a lot of boring parts. There's a lot of subpar dialogue or, uninteresting acting. But the one thing that James Wan does with every movie is he's not a terrible. He brings the directing chops. Mm-hmm. Like
Absolutely.
even Aquaman with all of its flaws is still better. It's still a better movie for James Wan having directed it.
I agree
And,
totally.
and I'm even going to say that going with sequels. The first, he did the short film. The first Saw film, I still really like. The short film I thought was good. I think he brings a lot of interesting stuff to the table. The first Saw film, we had Insidious. I still think it's the best one. Fast 7 or Furious 7.
I've never seen one. Have no intention.
Well, this one
of
has
watching
Kurt
one.
Russell. This has Kurt Russell, so you should watch it.
You
He's
know,
in
but
that.
Yeah.
going back to what I said earlier about Aquaman, I felt like that he was not very invested. I think it's more he wasn't working with a very good screenplay.
No.
But I think you're right. The best thing about that movie was his direction.
So it's
and he kind of the movie's not very good, but what is good about it is his ability to overcome and keep it kind of action and moving in a way that another director might have just given into. This is not very good, and I don't know what to do with it.
So it's your average DC film. I'm just trying to get Frank mad.
I'm not sure there is an
Look,
average
I-
DC film.
I'm just trying to get Frank
I
mad.
mean, are we okay with
DC is my trash. I love it, but it has stumbled a lot, especially lately.
I mean, are we when
In
we
the
saw that-
behind the s-
Are we talking
the
about
scenes stuff.
Christian Bale Batman
No, no, no,
movies?
no,
Do
no,
we
no,
include
no.
those as DC
No.
films?
We're talking about like
Those are
DC.
by-
We're talking about like Man of Steel and on.
Those are by far the best movies, in my opinion.
Over time, they've gone down in value with me.
Batman and Superman,
Yeah, have you seen the latest Batman movie with Robert Pattinson?
I have not.
Okay, we might have to cover that because that,
that
was
one's
actually
good.
really
That
good.
one you should watch.
If I ever get out of this cabin, I promise I'll watch it.
I'll let you borrow it because you gotta
you can't
gotta
let
watch
me
the
borrow
disc.
it because we're in a cabin.
No, I'll let you borrow the VHS tape that's sitting over there.
Okay.
But like you're saying, he does find really interesting things to do with the camera, like the bird's eye view shot where Madison's running
Yes.
away from Gabriel, and it's following her from room to room. That's really cool. But I think two moments that kind of stick out a little more for me, they're less showy, are the scene where she first sees Gabriel killing the Dr. Weaver when she's loading up the... Yeah, so that scene is just her loading laundry into a washing machine. Any other director would probably just shoot it straight, but he finds certain camera angles, particularly the shot from inside the washing machine, the way it frames Madison, the texture of the chrome inside, the color like line around her face, the way the camera moves, and then the way that it brings the illusion into her house and then transitions into Dr. Weaver's house. That's all stuff that any other director would have probably just shot straight.
Yeah.
But I think it's a testament to Wan as a director that he makes those scenes interesting. And then there's a second shot after Madison's had the miscarriage. This one's even less showy, but I thought it was interesting. I didn't catch it the first few times that I'd seen it, but she's looking at the crack on the wall where she got shoved into, and if you notice, the lighting in that moment is a lot stronger, to the point that her shadow kind of superimposes over the crack, but it's a little broader. It kind of looks like Gabriel for a second. And then when they move from that section of the bedroom to the bed, the lighting suddenly gets a lot softer, so there's no shadows being cast, which I thought was really interesting. I feel like that was a deliberate clue early on in the film that I didn't catch the first couple of times.
But yeah, no, sorry, just to sum up, Frank, I agree. I think the definite strength in this film is James Wan's ability as a director. I think he can definitely take an average script and just elevate it 100%. I really think that's one of his strengths, and I think it's probably one of my favorite things about this film. I think if you brought in maybe a less talented director, or you just kind of had like a hired gun come in director, I don't think this film would be as great as it was.
Was he hired to direct this film? No, this was his film, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Right. For sure. It's all, yeah.
Yeah.
Never mind.
If James Wan had remade Christmas Evil, would you watch it?
You know what? That would actually be really
Right?
interesting.
Right? I
Yeah.
feel like
Funny,
he
I
would do
thought about
really
that.
good.
I was thinking about that today. Absolutely. That's the guy to
Yeah.
direct Christmas Evil.
What about you?
Oh, 100%. Like I said, I think it would have been way more evil.
We would have had, Matrix action Santa Matrix scenes with him slicing and dicing people.
Yeah, when he
I would watch
was
that.
trying to tear off his beard, you would have Gabriel come out. That would be the opening. Gabriel would come out.
So Christmas Evil is Malignant too.
Yeah, Dan, didn't you say it'd be something about a musical?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think I think Christmas Evil would make a great off-Broadway musical. It could be very campy. You could do all kinds of great bloody stuff, and I could just see all kind of a pop rock score. I think it would, honestly.
Yeah, it'd come around every
It
year.
would come out every year. Every holiday season off Broadway. Go see Christmas Evil.
Speaking of musicals, did you guys... Oh, well, you know what? I don't think you guys have seen Phantom of the Paradise. But
Oh,
did
yeah.
you think that Gabriel's radio voice kind of sounded like the Phantom?
Oh my God!
Right?
My mind is blowing now. Yes, Phantom of the Paradise, 100%. But we got to cover that movie too.
Yeah. Also, shout out to most overused line in any crime or horror movie. You guys gotta come see this.
It's in every horror movie, right?
Yeah, I love it. It gets me every time. It's like, wow, you guys are good.
Well, it's almost that overused line in almost every disaster film or horror film. I think we got him.
Yeah. Also, not an overused line, but I love that the mother said this when she found out that they had lied about Madison's birth mother dying. She called them lying cock knockers. It's a really inventive.
I use that
insult there.
phrase all the time.
Do you?
Yes, you lying cock knocker.
Yeah, when earlier when we were in the cabin, I actually took Dan's copy of Malignant on VHS. I said I lost it, I couldn't find it, and he called me a cock knocker.
You're right, I did. I'm sorry.
I'm glad we could get that all out in the open.
I'm glad. I'm sorry. I'd like to chat with you about it after the show.
You cockknocker.
Frank, what did you start?
Cock knocker.
Oh my
So-
god.
What were our favorite, craziest moments in the film? I feel like for me, it actually has to be the moment where Madison's birth mother falls through the ceiling.
Oh yeah. That, like I was saying, that was the one moment where I was starting to fall out of the film, and I came right back in.
Yeah.
That was
I
a
think-
great reveal, right? Because then you found out, oh wait, this is happening in her own attic.
Yeah,
The music for that was great too. It was like, ah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
earlier it's something was sort. I said the scene wrong, but yeah, that scene it caught me such off guard. I had to rewind the movie the first time I watched it because I thought I missed something. I'm like, wait,
Wait, for what? When she fell
yeah, when
through?
she falls to the ground, I was like, wait. Did I miss something? I thought maybe because, like I said, it was HBO. I thought maybe the stream skipped or something. I thought I was out, and it brought me back in.
So was that your most craziest, or do you have another one?
It's up there. I know we keep talking about the jail scene. I just think my craziest is probably just the whole beginning of the jail scene where you kind of see when Gabriel first starts coming out of the head, and I know we can't see this, but Sam's giving me looks.
Because that's
You're
also-
grabbing the back of your head,
Yeah.
demonstrating something we can't see.
I didn't say that. I said Sam is making a fit because I think, Sam, you can take it from here.
That was also my favorite crazy scene because we've heard about Gabriel for so long, and then that scene intercut with the VHS part. You don't really know what to expect, even though you do. You see him, but having her pull her head apart, that was top notch for me.
Yeah, like you kind of expect Gabriel to be completely gone at that point, right? Like be a separate entity, but the
Yeah.
fact that it's still in her is the
And then you
big
see,
reveal.
yeah, and then you see her every step of the way just pull her skull apart. It's just like crazy.
Well, and the doctor, I think during the VHS surgery part, says we took out as much of Gabriel as we could, and then we just sort of packed
Pushed
it back in her head. So they're leaving that in your mind.
Just push-
Gabriel's still in there.
Just let me push that in there real quick.
I like how the piece of skull just slots
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
perfectly back.
That's good
Yeah,
surgery
it was
right there.
it was like stuff in a backpack, like
Yeah.
trying to put your jacket in there when you were a kid.
Do you want to do yours? I mean,
I already did mine. What's your craziest?
I guess for me, and maybe my big oh my god moment was when on the VHS tape when they swings back and shows this baby connected to the back of her head, this sort of ghoulish, whatever you want to call it. That's when I went, oh my god, and then everything made sense to me as I started backing my way through the movie, going, okay, now it all makes sense, and I just thought that was a
It
great.
was almost like Kuatu from Total Recall. Anyone?
Stop doing that.
Nobody can see you.
Nobody see you waving your little hands
I
on
just
your
said
chest.
Kuatu. That can mean you don't need the visual guide.
Then why are you giving it to us? No
But
one can
it's-
see
it's
it.
Because
funny.
I am very
It's
animated.
funny.
Even when I'm having a normal conversation with people, I'm moving my hands, I'm swinging them. It's not supplementary. You can have one or the other. You don't need to see my hand visuals to understand what I'm talking about. I'm very animated
He's-
in
As he
general.
still uses his hands.
As I'm still
right?
using my hands
I was-
right
I
now.
was going to say he's using his hands and he's wearing an IMAX Avatar shirt.
Yeah,
So
it's in
this is
48
very-
frames. 48 frames coming at you.
Really quick, we were talking about how this movie paid homage to a lot of horror movies. Did you guys get a poltergeist feel in that
yeah.
in that VHS with the phone? I thought that was great.
Oh, yeah. I love the use of the phone, the light up phone. It was a really cool visual.
Yeah, I like that
like
too.
in the beginning of the Poltergeist, light up fun, like you were saying. See, I'm doing that with my hands again. Now I keep thinking about my hands. Beep beep.
Things I never thought I'd hear.
Beep beep. No, that's our ending. Everyone needs to listen to the ending of this podcast because we have funny little
We
cutaways.
do tags. We take out an outtake. Oh, you can't take out an outtake, can you?
We
They're
move it. We
outtakes.
kind of move
That's a double
it.
take.
You intake and outtake.
We at the end of after the
take.
closing credit music, we put something in at a tag that was not in the podcast.
We have an end credit scene. Essentially, we have an end
we
credit
have our-
What
scene.
was that boom? Was that
It's
me?
Travis.
Was it your mic?
It was Travis.
No, it wasn't.
So when the final music comes on at the end, wait to the end and listen to our tags because they can be very funny and somewhat revealing, I think.
It might be funny to us because we went through it, but it's still fun to put out there. So
There wasn't a variety of deaths in the movie, but there was quite a lot of death. Gabriel was out there cutting people up. I would say my favorite Gabriel kill was the pacemaker scene at the end.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was surprisingly not subtle, but it was like, I didn't expect it. I thought it would just be nonstop slashing till the end of the movie.
Compared to all of the deaths, that was very.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite death?
I think the whole like police precinct for me, just
Your favorite deaths?
deaths, just a lot of deaths. I love deaths.
I love Lamp. No, so now I feel like Sam now because I'm like, she took mine.
That's how it
No,
feels.
that's mine too. I liked the whole, like you said, Kung Fu, Gabriel, that whole thing. I just gonna link it up all as one to keep my description short.
Yeah, I really liked that pacemaker moment too. I kind of forgot about that. That was really cool and unexpected. So I'm gonna kind of steal it from you. I thought the sequence, though, I don't know if it'd be a favorite death, but a death sequence was when she got the guy in the bathtub, and then she's in the bathroom, and then the cop comes in.
That was cool.
I thought this just was a really cool sequence, which launched into that big chase scene, which I also thought was pretty cool. Although I kept wondering, why are you not calling for backup, man? You're a cop. That's what you do in cop movies. But it was that whole idea of her being in the room. No, he's in the room, and the bloody bathtub. It was just a really cool moment.
Let's talk about like our least favorite. I'll go first. When she was finally able to take back control of her body, and then she has that really cheesy line, and she was like, "I'm in control now," or some crap like that. That took me out. I didn't like it. It was cheesy as hell. It was the worst of it all.
I 100% agree with you. I
Yeah.
thought the ending of just putting him back in whatever that box and
It was-
locking it, literally putting him in jail
No.
and locking the key was just really.
It was the jail cell from Chicago.
Yeah, he had it coming.
He had it coming.
He had it coming. It was like, I felt like, and I thought myself, I almost had like a Travis moment where I went, did I just miss something? How did we get from A to Z in like one moment? It was almost like, if I may, spoiler alert, it too. When we find at the end, all you have to do is just
Yell.
insult the clown, and then he becomes a little baby. Like, wow, that's really stupid.
Dan, I never saw that one.
And I'm so sorry.
The moral of the story is be a bully.
And like you said, then we're gonna become Frank's favorite characters.
Right.
Frank's favorite characters in
But
the movie.
You're right. Did Sam and I miss something? Was there a moment where, wait, how did we connect that dot?
No, you just didn't understand it, Dan.
Yeah.
It was on purpose.
Frank, did it kind of like when they packed Gabriel?
Like the bad cop dialogue. It was on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, Frank, when they packed Gabriel at the end, didn't I like how you guys are saying Chicago too? It also reminded me of that ending scene in the first X-Men movie when they have Magneto, like
Oh.
when he's in a prison cell, and they kind of just it's like and then you have Professor Xavier kind of just wheels away in his wheelchair, and it kind of does the long.
But you're right, though. That shot of Gabriel in jail, the whole look of the jail was really very musical theater looking. It did not look like the rest of the movie.
Spotlight, the lighting, everything.
Oh, very
It's just
much like he should have broken into song.
That whole ending was super hammy.
The
I
bout-
liked it though. I liked how stupid and cheesy and like everything is okay now, even though like half the police force in Seattle's dead.
Yeah,
But that's okay.
Dan, this is what you have. You have Gabriel break out into a song, the Ballad of Gabriel, and as he's singing, it fades out, and you hear him over the credits. It goes into the end credits.
I mean, I'd go there. I love that idea.
Christmas Evil, Malignant, double feature musical.
I'm in.
Science fiction.
What's your favorite?
My least favorite?
Your least favorite.
My least favorite. The part where Madison's sister drives way too close to that cliff edge.
oh, when she
Like,
parked.
why? Why would you park so close?
Why would that castle be that close to the cliff anyway? Yeah.
The castle looks great, but like, who taught you how to park, ma'am?
I'm not gonna do
I
it.
didn't. Everything else is just fine. It's
Yeah.
just that moment. Like, I don't know why there's like I get a visceral reaction from it every time. It's like stop, stop, stop. You're too close.
It's in your intrusive thoughts.
Yeah.
Coming into play.
Where was that Wicked Witch of the West castle anyway? Just sitting out there on the side of the road.
It's in San Francisco.
It was you kid. It was in the you kids are going all the way up there. The gas station attendant will tell you exactly where it's at.
One of my favorite horror movie tropes. Too.
What's your least favorite scene?
My least favorite scene was that I'm gonna get kind of meta here. Was that my character didn't see this film in the theaters, No,
Your character?
yeah, like me, myself. I didn't. No, my, I.
He's talking about Travis the stranger, not Travis the
Is
person.
is there like an ultra, like
I think there's a Gabriel like in my head. No,
ultra Travis?
no, I'm trying to.
Alternative Travis?
I mean, even though I think probably my least section of the film is we've discussed it to death, but the whole from the opening probably up until with the attic reveal, that whole section of the film
Yeah.
kind of just drags for me, and I really thought I was getting fooled by just a film that had a fantastic opening and then the rest of the film just fails to deliver. That's where I thought we were going.
So your least favorite part of the movie was the first 45 minutes.
No, I liked. I mean, it's not. But hey, every people can have a least favorite part of the Mona Lisa. You know,
I don't think so.
the analogy is, it's like, hey, like if you really like something, there can be maybe a little part about it you don't like. If you have to pick it out.
Travis, there's
Wow,
parts of you
that's
that I
like-
don't like.
That's like,
That's what I'm saying. I was gonna go like me. Like people are like, Travis is generally a cool, funny, very
that you
insightful.
Has someone said that to you,
Is
though?
that-
'Cause-
is that
wait,
you talking
name
to yourself
your
in the mirror?
source.
Who's saying that?
Yeah,
That's
name
me
your
in the
source.
mornings when I wake up trying to take off my Santa
you-
beard.
He's talking about Travis the character.
But then
His
people
alter
say,
ego.
yeah. But then people say, you know what? But then there's a part of Travis that I don't really like,
Let's
and
wrap
I don't
this
want to
up.
hear this right now.
Wrap this up.
So before we go into our final thoughts, I do want to bring up one thing. There is a bit of a real life basis to the story. So the character of Gabriel is actually based on an urban legend from England. There's a guy named Edward Mordrake, who was apparently the 19th century heir to an English peerage. Edward Mordrake had a face on the back of his head, apparently. And according to legend, the face would whisper, laugh, or cry. And Mordrake repeatedly begged doctors to remove it, saying that it would whisper bad things into his head at night. So he committed suicide at the age of 23.
Oh crap!
And that's where that story ends because it's really sad.
Kind of like
Who says you can't learn things
Well,
on our
you know-
podcast?
you
My
know-
gosh, we just had a history lesson here.
Nobody likes you when you're 23.
See, I don't
I
get
don't
that.
So
even
if-
get that
I don't
one.
get that joke.
Blink 182.
Oh, God.
But that kind of is like Dr. Jekyll and Hyde in a way,
Yes.
right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, he was
A bit.
but that was like two
he was two
personalities,
personalities. I mean, in the 1930s, Dr. Jekyll,
Yeah.
Mr. Hyde, he actually turns into a monster. But I think the original novel, it was like a split personality. He was like he had this evil side and this doctor who was trying to control it.
Crazy.
But final thoughts?
We're keeping him last. Dan, go ahead.
Well, absolutely. My overall feeling for this movie was very positive. I had a pretty good time, honestly. I mean, I think we all agree that it got a little stretches of confusion and maybe almost redundancy in the first maybe 45 minutes of the movie. But I don't look back on it as a first-time viewing of it going, oh, I didn't. That made me not like the movie because I was very engaged in trying to figure out what the hell is going on because I knew there was some other layer going on that we were not getting. But yeah, once we kick in, once Mom falls through the ceiling for me forward, I think the movie just starts really clicking. And I had fun. I mean, I thought it was actually a very wild, highly gory, but enjoyable, fun kind of movie, fun horror movie.
I agree.
So am I supposed to rank it now?
Yeah, rank
Okay,
it.
cool. So I would say we didn't talk about this, the whole idea that he took the doctor's trophy and turned it into his weapon. But I would say out of 5 weapon trophies, I would give it 3. 3. I feel good about 3.
I'll go. This is my third time watching it. I think out of the 3, I've decided on my thought. It wasn't as good as the first 2 times I've watched it, and it is because of the first 45 minutes. It was a drag. But I feel like for me, when it kicked up was the jail cell scene. After that, I felt like it made up for the really slow 45 minutes, so I really, truly enjoyed it. And again, we don't have the whole B horror movie campy thing anymore, so having this come out, it was nice. So, I'm gonna rate it now. Out of 5 trench coats, I give it 3.5.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to kind of agree there. Overall, really fun time, really gory. I love the usage of color in the movie. The camera work is great. Direction is great. Acting so-so. Writing so-so. Note, though, the movie was written by Keela Cooper, who's also writing Megan. So I can't wait to see what she
No,
pulls
I
out.
really don't want to watch
The
it.
Megan trailer looks really campy, and I'm very much excited about it.
I thought we were having a conversation.
Megan is also being produced by James Wan.
Not directed, but
Produced.
Produced,
Yeah.
yeah.
Produced.
Yeah.
I'm excited
I'm
for
excited too. I know Sam is
Not excited.
No.
So out of 5.
that. So out of 5, I would give it 3.75 teratomas out of 5.
You know, I
Nice.
wanted to do
Because-
teratoma, but I wasn't sure if that was okay.
Yeah, it was going to be 4 teratomas, but I had to remove 0.25. That's all I could remove, or else the rating would have died.
All right.
All right, the spotlight is yours, Travis.
I don't want the spotlight.
You've been asking for it.
So be really expressive.
Okay. So I'm doing sign language now to. No,
I am too. Wrap it up.
No, so this was my second time seeing the film. First being HBO Max. Second time, reaching into my bag again, I was able to watch the 4K disc.
VHS
4K disc. Thanks to Sam. I was excited because initially when the film first came out on home video, we just got a Blu-ray release. I think 4K was only digitally, and I really wanted a 4K release. Finally, a year later, we got one. Comparing the 4K disc now to the stream, I think that the 4K disc looks marginally better. We get native 4K, HDR10. It looks pretty good. Sound mix is the exact same 5.1. So it's a pretty good upgrade. But as far as my final thoughts on the film, like I said, I think it's a good script, pretty good script that's more elevated by its direction. I think it's a very well shot, very well directed film. I know I kind of complained a little bit about that, like 45 minutes that I think could have been better. I mean, this is kind of like the love-hate about it is now seeing the whole film and seeing that second half. It makes me kind of enjoy the first part more, but at the same time, it's like I don't know now if in repeat viewings, since I love the second half so much and I know it's coming, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy the film as much every time. I don't know if every time I watch it now I'm going to like it less and less.
That's what happened to me. Yeah.
See, because I see that's kind of what's happening with Sam. I remember this film also too, like Barbarian, last week's episode, having a very, very strong word of mouth. I was telling everyone to watch it. And this is where you're gonna get mad at me, Dan, because
Perfect.
I know everyone's giving it 3.5. I will actually give this film 4.5
Oh my god.
Good
out
for
of
you.
5 static TVs.
There you go.
Lighthouse.
And Travis,
It
let me
doesn't
just
make sense,
And
though.
I enjoyed, and that's the thing. I know it's weird. I know, like I said, I have my comments. I actually, because you got Dan and you guys were upset, like last week where I gave Barbarian a lower rating, I actually liked this film more than Barbarian.
What?
Yeah,
I'm-
I enjoyed this one more.
Okay,
Wow.
let me just. But I want to help you for a second. I don't mind your rating.
You're
That's
gonna
fine.
help me by
You're
saying there's the door.
You're allowed to have whatever rating you want. I've given into that. But I will say this: you don't have to keep watching the movie. Okay? If the front end is slow, and I don't. You don't have to. You keep saying, "Well, the next time I watch it, it's gonna be this."
Well,
You don't ever have
well,
to watch it again.
and that's
I'm gonna
what-
let you off the hook.
And that's why I gave it the higher rating, because I was like, I know it kind of goes against what I said, but as if just seeing the film now once, if only seeing it once, and then just seeing the whole thing as a whole, like I said, I enjoyed it, and it kind of makes up for it. I agree. There's just one time reviewing 4.5.
I guarantee you. Well, I can't guarantee you. I'm pretty sure I will never watch this movie again, but I will still remember it as a movie I had a really good time watching. I just don't see any
Were
reason
you-
why I have to watch it again. Okay, so I guess, are we good? Are we all wrapped up? Everybody got their 2 cents in. Some people got their 3 or 4 cents in with lots of
He
expressions.
got a whole $20 in
I
there.
think he did, without giving back any change. So, what are we watching next week? Let's take a look in our bag of tricks here. And I've got, oh, whoa, what do we have here? Oh, no, we don't want to watch that. Hang on a second. Ah, here we go. Megan.
Are you excited, Sam?
So excited.
M3 again.
Megan.
M3 again.
Megan.
M3 friggin'
We're
again.
actually getting the VHS delivered to us, but they're not going to
Okay.
take us home.
Thank you very much. That was. Remember to like us, follow us, and share us, and also write us a good review. Thank you very much. This is Strangers in the Alps, a slasher podcast. I'm Dan.
I'm Travis.
I'm Sam.
I'm also Sam.
Wait,
Megan.
it's ripping out. It's ripping out. It's Frank.
I finally have a final.
That was my kneecap. Sorry. That was my kneecap.
That was very loud. Are you sure it was only your kneecap?
I don't know if I'm going to be able to walk after this.
I'm gonna walk backwards.